The year is 1607. England, emboldened by its naval triumphs, is buzzing with ambition. The New World, a vast and mysterious land across the ocean, whispers promises of gold, glory, and untold riches. It's in this climate of hope and hunger that the Virginia Company of London, armed with a royal charter from King James I, prepares to make its mark. Their goal? To establish England's first permanent foothold in North America. They will name it Jamestown. Little did they know, this rugged outpost, born from a mix of greed and desperation, would become the very seed from which a nation would grow. In December 1606, a small fleet of 3 ships, the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery, set sail from London. On board were 104 souls, not farmers or artisans, but mostly gentlemen and adventurers, men chasing fortune, not a new life. Their mission was clear: find gold, claim land for the crown, and discover a passage to Asia. The 5-month journey was brutal. Storms raged, and sickness festered in the cramped quarters. But in April 1607, the weary travelers finally spotted the coast of Virginia. They sailed up a calm river, which they named the James, and on May 14th, they began constructing a simple wooden fort. Jamestown was born. The settlers, however, were utterly unprepared for the reality of this new world. The land was a sweltering, mosquito-infested swamp. The water was salty and undrinkable. Their supplies quickly vanished, and they knew next to nothing about farming or hunting in this strange environment. To make matters worse, they had settled in the heart of the powerful Powhatan Confederacy. Initial relations were cautious but peaceful, with the natives trading food for English tools and beads. But as the English colonists grew more demanding, tensions flared. By that first summer, the combined forces of disease, starvation, and conflict had taken a devastating toll. Only a third of the original settlers were left standing. Jamestown was fast becoming a graveyard. Just when all seemed lost, a figure of grit and resolve emerged. Captain John Smith, a soldier and explorer. Smith was a pragmatist who knew that survival wasn't about social status, but about hard work. He instituted a simple, non-negotiable rule: he that will not work shall not eat. Under his stern leadership, the colony began to find its footing. Smith skillfully negotiated trade with the Powhatans, mapped the unknown territories, and enforced a much-needed discipline. He built up defenses and explored Virginia's rivers, always searching for a way to make the colony self-sufficient. But his diplomacy was a tightrope walk. Wary of the English presence, the Powhatans began to push back. During one fateful expedition, Smith was captured and brought before the great chief Powhatan. As legend tells it, just as he was about to be executed, the chief's young daughter, Pocahontas, threw herself over him, saving his life. Whether this dramatic rescue is fact or folklore, the story has echoed through history, a powerful symbol of the fragile, fleeting peace that existed between these two clashing worlds. In 1609, disaster struck. Captain Smith was severely injured in a gunpowder accident and forced to return to England. Without his leadership, Jamestown spiraled into chaos. What followed was the horrifying winter of 1609 to 1610, a period that would forever be known as the Starving Time. Supply ships from England never arrived, the colonists' crops failed, and the Powhatans, now openly hostile, laid siege to the fort. Trapped and desperate, the settlers ate anything they could find: rats, snakes, even the leather from their own shoes. When spring finally arrived, only 60 survivors remained out of a population that had swelled to nearly 500. The Jamestown experiment was on the brink of total collapse. In June of 1610, just as the last ragged survivors were preparing to abandon the fort and sail for home, a new fleet appeared on the horizon. Lord de la Ware had arrived, bringing with him fresh supplies, new settlers, and a renewed sense of purpose. He immediately ordered the colonists to stay. Jamestown would not be abandoned. Imposing strict military discipline, he rebuilt the fort and re-established a fragile order. The settlement slowly clawed its way back from the brink. And with this new wave of colonists came a man whose vision would secure Virginia's future, John Rolfe. John Rolfe, a young and enterprising farmer, had brought with him a few precious seeds of a sweeter, more pleasant variety of tobacco from the Spanish Caribbean. The sandy, fertile soil along the James River proved to be the perfect environment for this new crop. By 1614, Rolfe was exporting his tobacco to England, where it became an instant sensation. This brown gold became Virginia's first cash crop, the economic engine that would fuel its growth. It was so valuable, it was even used as currency. Tobacco brought wealth and spurred expansion, but it also created an insatiable demand for labor. To work the sprawling plantations, colonists began importing indentured servants and, soon after, enslaved Africans. In the very soil of Jamestown, the seeds of American prosperity and its deepest, most tragic moral conflict were planted side by side. In 1614, John Rolfe also married Pocahontas. Their union ushered in a period of relative peace between the English and the Powhatan people, known as the Peace of Pocahontas. She traveled with Rolfe to England, where she was presented to society as Lady Rebecca, a living symbol of the New World and a bridge between two cultures. Tragically, in 1617, she fell ill and died, never to see her homeland again. Her death signaled the end of that fragile harmony. By 1622, the peace was shattered. The Powhatans, led by a new chief, launched a coordinated surprise attack, killing hundreds of settlers. Though Jamestown itself survived, the dream of a peaceful coexistence was gone forever. Despite the relentless cycle of famine, disease, and war, Jamestown endured. It grew to become the bustling capital of the Virginia colony, setting the template for future English settlements. The year 1619 marked two pivotal and profoundly contradictory moments in its history. In a Jamestown church, the first representative legislative assembly in the Americas, the House of Burgesses convened, planting the seeds of self-government. That very same year, a ship arrived carrying the first enslaved Africans to be sold in English North America, marking the dark and tragic beginning of an institution that would haunt the nation for centuries. Jamestown had become a microcosm of the American experience, a place of breathtaking ambition and shocking cruelty, of liberty and bondage, all woven into the fabric of a fragile new world. As the 1600s drew to a close, the colony expanded further inland. The capital was eventually moved to the more central and healthier location of Williamsburg. Left behind, Jamestown slowly faded into the landscape. By the 1700s, all that remained were crumbling ruins and the silent echoes of a dramatic past. But its legacy was indestructible. From this one small settlement, the English presence in North America would grow to span a continent. From its early experiments with democracy and its struggles for survival, the very roots of a new nation took hold. Jamestown was never just a fort on a river. It was the first, difficult, and defining chapter in the story of America. Today, if you visit the quiet banks of the James River, you can walk among the ghosts of Jamestown. You can see the archaeological footprint of the fort, the weathered bricks, and feel the weight of history. The men and women who landed here, seeking fortune and glory, could never have imagined that their desperate fight for survival would ultimately give birth to one of the most powerful nations on earth. The year 1607, when a handful of English settlers stepped ashore and built a fragile wooden fort, was the year the American story truly began. Thanks so much for joining us on this journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as we do, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. We'll see you in the next one.